Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Bronny James being drafted into the NBA is the biggest joke in NBA history, right? The biggest joke in NBA history, Bronny James getting drafted into the NBA. You got to be kidding me. And we're going to talk about this today. A guy that only averaged like 4 points per game in college before his medical condition and after his medical condition. What are we talking about? We all know his agent is Rich Paul. And let me say this. I did a video on this guy, and the story is just so ridiculous, so absurd, doesn't make no sense on his background and how he became a sports agent. And I'll talk about that just a little bit right here, but it's just mind-boggling. They're trying to say that LeBron didn't start up this company. Like I call it unclutch sports. Unclutch sports. Ain't nothing clutch about LeBron James. Nothing clutch about the guy. So I don't know why they call it clutch sports. Like clutch points. No. Unclutch sports. That's what they should be calling this company. So Rich Paul, I never trust a guy anyways with a last name that is a first name in the first place. Supposedly, this is LeBron's best friend since, if I'm not mistaken, the story goes LeBron met him, what was it, before the draft or after the draft? Something like that. And he was traveling on an airplane. He saw him outside of an airport. I think it was in Cleveland or something like that. And he was selling jerseys out of the back of his trunk. Next thing you know, LeBron liked the jersey and they exchanged numbers. And this becomes LeBron's best friend, one of his best friends. And this guy suddenly starts working with, who is it? LeBron's agent in Cleveland. And supposedly LeBron's agent teaches Rich Paul the ins and outs of being a sports client. And then suddenly Rich Paul starts up his own company. So they don't give us any background, or I haven't seen it. Can somebody send me the link or something? Because I read on Wikipedia, I see nothing about this guy went to college for finance, business, anything. And then after this guy, like I said, works with LeBron's agent, he starts up this talent agent company and becomes an agent, owns the company, and is one of the biggest talent agent companies in North America. A guy that was basically homeless on the side of the road selling jerseys out of his trunk. This is the guy that LeBron trusts and is LeBron's right-hand man and is this big talent agent all of a sudden. Forget about all the guys who went to school to be a talent agent, went to college, learned finance and business. Forget about those guys. You know, it's almost like, when we look at these rappers who are these gangster rappers, uneducated, from the streets, gangsters, shot people, dropped out of school, gang banging, all this stuff. Pretty much illiterate people. I'm not trying to say dumb people, but, all of a sudden they become actors? Actors? Or were they just actors in the beginning? From the beginning? Were they just actors to start with? Because when we look at real actors that go to acting school and struggle to get a big part, to be in Hollywood, to do anything and never make it, after going to acting school and all this stuff for years, these rappers just walk up on the scene and they're able to read scripts like it's nothing. Yeah, so forget about Rich Paul having to go to any type of school for business, finance, any of this stuff. He just learns behind some other talent agent. And where does he get this money from to start this agency? And where's the trust behind wanting this guy to be your talent agent? Where's the years of trust? Just LeBron James? Because he signed LeBron James? The story doesn't add up. The story doesn't add up. the story doesn't add up to me. Not only because, the guy was homeless. I'm going to say he was homeless. But the guy was selling jerseys out of the back of his trunk. God knows where he got these jerseys. It ain't like he had a real company and he was selling these jerseys. The whole thing don't add up to me. To me, it sounds like LeBron started this talent agent company to start paying people off in the media, because everything in the media really changed once he started up Unclutched Sports, right? They was dogging LeBron out for every time he failed in Cleveland. And as soon as he went to Miami and started up this company, the media has done nothing but suck him off for all his faults. Because for all the stuff that he's done, all they can point out was 2011. No, we can run down this guy's career from the beginning. From being the most hyped player of all time coming into the NBA. And like I said before, when you got those expectations of being the most hyped player of all time, more hyped than Jordan, Bird, Magic, Kareem, Wilt, and you guys don't understand how big of a hype Wilt Chamberlain really was. You don't understand this stuff because the media will never tell you this stuff. Even though you beat up on Wilt Chamberlain, and Wilt Chamberlain came in and just did something that nobody ever did. MVP the first year, and Rookie of the Year, and put up astronomical stats. You talking about living up to expectations. Expectations. This was after the guy played with the Harlem Globetrotters. He couldn't just one and done. So he went to go play with the Harlem Globetrotters, which, hell, you could say he's not even playing real basketball no more. So for him to come in the league and do what he did, whew, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, people like this. And you're talking about LeBron lived up to all expectations. Like I said, came in, missed the playoffs his first 2 seasons, won the All-Stars first season, had to change the defensive rules so he could finally make the playoffs, where he melted down, took a 3-2 lead going back home on Detroit. The defending champions. Oh, that East was hard. This guy had a 3-2 lead going back home where he melted down in games 5 and 6. Go look at the stats. 2007, he makes the finals after being in the playoffs for 1 season, melts down astronomically in those finals. We don't want to talk about that. He was just young, right? Who cares? But if he would have put up just great numbers, right? Great numbers, great percentages, they would have blamed that on his team. Oh, wait, face first super team. Oh, no, he didn't do nothing wrong. That man, what was he, like 32, 8 and 8 or something like that? On what? 35% from the field? 5 turnovers per game? 61% from the free throw line in the series? 31% from 3? It was just horrible. I mean, I could have got 31 points per game on that percentage in those turnovers. 09. Got the best record in the NBA over this great super team. The Celtics. What a super team, right? What was it, like number 4 in the conference? You call that a super team? And he was an MVP? 2010, because we know what he did in that series. Melted down like ice in games 4, 5, and 6. No. That was the next year. But games 5 and 6 or something like that? He melted down against the Magic. And then the next season, 10. Oh, that mighty super team. I think they were number 3 seed that year. Had the number 1 record over them. And had the MVP. Wow, that great super team couldn't even get an MVP player, right? You guys got to be kidding me. It's a fairy tale career. It's a made-up career for LeBron James and his opponents. Then he melts down in games 4, 5, and 6 against the Celtics. That was a number 3 seed. Then he goes to Miami. Not 5, not 6, not 7. We know what he did against the Mavs. Taunted the Mavs after he taunted the whole league at the beginning of the season. Right? Melts down with his super team. So what all expectations did this guy meet? And like I said, didn't point to, just 2011. No. That's when you want his career to begin in 2011. It did not. This guy did not meet no expectations. Okay? When we look at from '04 all the way to 11, did not, what expectations? And we can take it a little bit further. The first United States team that had NBA players lost, got smoked in the Olympics, where they wouldn't even let this guy play. That's how horrible of a shooter he was. 41% from the field for his rookie season and was a minus 144 for the season. Who's he going to get in? Get in and do what? '06 FIBA. I think the guy was averaging like what? Almost 30 points a game in '06 season. So in the FIBA that summer, they got smoked again. With the likes of Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, smoked. So I don't know what expectations these guys are talking about still. What expectations? As being the most hyped player. Because if you're the most hyped player coming into the league, especially a weaker era than what the 80s and 90s was, you were supposed to be outdoing what Bird, Magic, Jordan, Kareem, Wilt, these type of guys did coming into the league. Oscar Robertson, you were supposed to be outdoing what they did. And all we saw you do was melt and choke and lose. Ain't had nothing to do with winning the championship. You can lose, but not in meltdown fashion again and again and again and again. So again, that's when he realized he needed super teams his entire career, because he wasn't a leader. He wasn't a clutch player. He doesn't have any positional moves. He had to start lifting weights as the guys got smaller so he could start charging the barrel into the basket and people be amazed. Look how big this guy is. Yeah, because in his era, the guys stopped lifting weights. The pace started getting faster, right? So you didn't need bigger bodies. The centers were skinnier. The centers were shooting more from the outside. And this guy was playing, not playing, was like a 90s player, 90s type of guy as far as body wise. You go back to the 90s, you're going to see all kind of guys as big as LeBron James, or the 80s. Because the 90s was the height of bodybuilding and lifting weights and being strong. So that was a big thing in the NBA. Even with, guards, small forwards, these guys lifted weights, got strong, and stuff like that. I'm not knocking the guy for lifting weights and getting strong, but he wasn't looking like nobody in his era, the way the game was played and stuff like that. So for Bronny James, to me, if this guy gets drafted, it's not too much NBA I'm going to watch. I'm not going to take the NBA serious as a real sports league anymore. I'm just not. It's not a real sports league. If this guy gets drafted into the NBA, he's not an NBA player. I don't care about, oh man, he won't play with his father. There's a lot of guys that want to play in the NBA, but they're not NBA players. I wanted to play in the NBA, right? This is serious right here. These are the best athletes, best NBA players, and some of the best athletes in the world that play in professional sports leagues. They're not going to let somebody in the NBA the NFL, just because they feel sorry for them. There's been many of NFL players that had children that played in college that could not go to the NFL. There's been many of NBA players that had sons that played in college who couldn't make it to the NBA. Michael Jordan's sons couldn't go to the NBA. Nobody felt sorry for his sons. They just weren't good enough to make it to the NBA. You didn't hear Jordan say, man, I'm coming back to the Wizards, man, because I want to play with my sons. No, they didn't play that back then. And Mike wouldn't even vouch for nothing like that. He wouldn't embarrass himself like that to come back and play with his son who would be bringing water and Gatorade to the rest of the players. Even Michael Jordan came back after sitting 3 years on the couch drinking whiskey and smoking cigars, but he didn't come back to lollygag around and play no defense and cry and flop and moan to the referees and get foul calls. He didn't do that. He went out and he practiced his butt off, got on his teammates when they wasn't executing because he didn't want to be considered a laughing stock. And he wasn't. He wasn't. So the idea that networks like ESPN and Fox and all these other fools that LeBron and Unclutch Sports pay off trying to push Bronny getting drafted is ridiculous. The NBA keeps falling off in ratings. It keeps falling off in officiating and other things. And now we're doing this. We're getting this guy drafted who doesn't deserve it. The guy isn't even a basketball player. Maybe he could play pickup games at the YMCA, local neighborhood or something like that. But this is ridiculous. And we all know LeBron is using this guy. Why? Just to stay in the league, just to make more money off of a circus act. And this isn't professional sports no more. Professional basketball. We got to stop. They lied about his height. They said he was 6'4" the whole time he was in high school. Then he went to college. Then he goes to the combine, and he's only 6'1". What does it? I mean, what does this mean? They lie about LeBron's entire career. Now they're lying about this guy's height. They're lying about his abilities. Keep talking about he's moving up in stock, moving up the ladder in the draft. All this ridiculous stuff. A guy that scored 4 points per game at USC was a fourth option on this team. What are we talking about? And this is sad. His father's supposed to have over $1 billion. Shouldn't this little kid be going to college for business? Go start your own business, man. You're rich. There's been plenty of NBA players like LeBron James who, at this point, I'm not sure LeBron loves basketball, if he ever loved it, but many of NBA players who love basketball and, became great basketball players went to the NBA, did a one and done, or went straight out of high school so they could take care of their families, so they could be in better situations. Some of these NBA players forcing their children to play basketball. I'm not going to say all of them, but people like LeBron James forcing this kid to play basketball when obviously he doesn't really have the drive. He doesn't have the talent. I don't know why he doesn't. Especially in this weak era right here. He should have it should be easy for him. What is his father teaching him? I guess he can't teach him too much. His father can't shoot. Father really can't dribble. Father really doesn't play any defense. I really don't know what you would learn at a LeBron James camp. And now his son is falling in this same career, a narrative-driven career. That's what it is. More lies and more narratives is Bronny's best skills. That's his best skills. Lies and narratives. All this for money. That's why I keep telling you guys got to scratch your head. Are these guys really making this kind of money? We're being told. People are supposed to be have all these $100 million contracts or make tens of millions in their career. Next thing you know, they're sitting at a desk wearing makeup instead of enjoying their lives. Seems odd to me. But we won't get into that. But I just can't. If this guy gets drafted, I can't take the NBA serious. I really can't. At best, this dude is a water boy, cleaning up the floor, bringing towels, something like that. He's not a great talent coming out of college. He's taking somebody else's spot. I mean, God, at least, if this guy is this awful, Where's the athletic skills at least of LeBron James? He's not built like LeBron James. I don't know who he's built like. His mother? LeBron James was an athletic freak. I don't know what he was doing. I thought he was playing basketball all these years. He never grew to be like his father. Not physically. I don't see it. What happened? Nothing like his father. Nothing. Nothing. I mean, he should have been dominating high school, right? He was a good player. I wouldn't say he was like a top 10 player, nothing like that in high school. Out of all the high school recruits coming into college, I think he was a top 10 player. He should have been dominating. If he's supposed to be this pro player now, I don't even think he was a top 200 player in college. It's a joke. And they was trying to hype this guy on college game day. What is that, college game day? Or is that that's for football? I forget what that one's called for basketball, college basketball. Is it college game day? I don't know. All I know is they was trying to hype this guy, and it never happened. It never happened. So you guys tell me what you think. Like I said, I can't take the NBA serious. If this guy gets drafted, I just can't take the NBA serious. And the fact that LeBron's career has just been totally ridiculous and weak, and especially the past 6 years. And they're saying, oh, he wants to play with he doesn't deserve to play with his son at this point. All he deserves is to retire and let other players get the spotlight that's coming up in this league, and us stop hearing about this guy. I mean, because most people don't even like his father. It ain't like Michael Jordan's son trying to come in like, oh man, yeah, that's Michael Jordan's son. No, this is LeBron James' son. Nobody likes LeBron James outside of his delusional fans, right? So he needs to pay off the media just to talk good about him and his son. When the reality is, LeBron James has pissed a lot of people off for a long time now, and nobody wants to. If his son was a great talent, we'd be like, well, what? Man, hopefully he can be a better player than LeBron James mentally. But his son's not a good player. He wasn't good in college. So the NBA is turning into a circus, a reality show, and not even a real sports league. Tell me what you think.